Welcome back everyone to the Blender Creator course, Stylized 3D Models, and this is where we left it off. Now one thing you can do to see your model a little bit clearer is you come up to these two interlocking balls, we can actually turn those off like so, and now we have a much better visualization of what everything's going to look like. The other thing we can do, the actual sky texture is set up for viewing this when it's actually got materials on, and generally this material here hasn't actually got material on, so you'll see no material on this. So what I tend to do is I will come in now and change the base color of this to be a little bit more gray like so, and then what I will do is I will move my guy just over here for now. I'll turn my two interlocking links on, and then what I'll do is I'll just left click, drag all of the building, and then shift select this one last. So if I shift select this one last, you can see it's now got a yellow highlight around it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Control and L, and I'm going to link materials like so. Double tap the A, and now you can see we have a much better visualization. More than that though, we can actually come in now, turn this down, and it's going to turn the whole model down and give you a much better idea of what this is going to look like. Because the actual material we had on before, it was solid white, which means it has a lot of brightness bouncing off it. Now the other thing we can do as well is, if we come over to the right hand side where our world skylighting is, we can also come around and mess around with these. So we can mess around with the sun intensity, for instance. We can come down and mess around with the sun rotation, so we can turn it so it's a different way around, so it's looking a different way around where the shadows are cascading. We can also come down and turn the altitude up, and this will probably make the biggest difference. So if I come in and I turn the altitude up to 100, we can also come down and turn the air up, or the sun elevation up. If I come in and turn the sun elevation up, it will make a huge difference. So you can see if I bring it up, you can see the difference we're getting there in how the sun is actually shining on this model. You can also come in and mess around with the air. So we can see now it's much thicker. So in other words, it's taking the sunlight and actually adding more volume in there, which is making a much kind of thicker smog type look to it. And this is why I've set these to be these levels, because I think they're actually perfect for, viewing your model in this way. I have a very good visual now of the model, as you can see, and from there then I can actually start modeling this out. Alright, so now what I'll do is I'll put my guy just over here again. I'm going to put this onto material mode, so I'm going to put it onto material, let it load up. I'm then going to come in File, I'm going to save it out. And the other thing you can do is if you come over and hit this little button now, we can see that we can turn on scene lights or scene world on as well. And it's up to you whether you want to work like that. Generally, I will turn my scene lights on when I've actually got some, point lights in there or something like that. But at the moment, I don't think they're actually worth turning on. So I think actually working like this is going to be absolutely fine. Now, what do we do with the next part then? So the next part is we want to actually build out now and make this as easy as possible to build. In other words, we want to create things where we've not got to keep creating things over and over again. We want to make it very easy for ourselves. So the way we're going to do that is, first of all, we're going to make some blocks of wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift A. I'm going to bring in a cube. So let's bring in a cube. I'm going to make this cube then much smaller with the S button, like so. And what I want this to do, this cube is basically going to be my blocks of wood. Now you can see here, if I use this block of wood, look how thick this block of wood is. If I press S and shrink it down a little bit, now we can see that's much more usable for these points here. So these blocks of wood going over here. So what I'm going to do now is, I want to basically pull this out to be certain sizes. So if I come over here, over the right hand side here, and open this up, you can even open up this panel with the N button, or just click that little arrow over there. And we can see that the dimensions of the X are 0.21 meters. Now, if I pull this out and put it on 1 meter, you can see it pulls it out like so. So I think that we'll pull this out to 1 meter. And what we'll do then is we'll press Shift D and we'll pull another one out. And this time we'll put this on 1.5 like so. And then we'll pull another one out, Shift D, we'll put this on 2 like so. And then we'll pull another one out. We'll put this on 2.5 like so. And then finally the last one, we'll pull out and we'll put on 3 meters. So 3 meters, like so. Let's also save out our work so we don't lose anything. And now we have these 3 blocks of wood here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come in and I'm going to duplicate them. But before actually I duplicate them, I need to put in what they're actually called. It's going to make it life much easier if we do that. So if I press dot over the right hand side into my panel here. So as you can see, we've got all of these as part of our scene collection. Now what I want to do is at the moment, you can see that all of these are called cube, not really handy for what we need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my scene collection, click this on, right click and click new collection. Now if I scroll down to the bottom, we can see we've got collection 2. And in there, I'm going to call this modular parts. And again, this is the way that you should work when you're creating new parts for sure, because it's going to make it much easier. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to this first one. I'm going to call it, let's call it wood block. And we'll call it by what it is. So it's 1 meter, like so. And then what we can do is the next one, I'll just copy this actually. So I'm going to copy it up to this point. So I'm going to press Control C. And then I'm going to come to the next one, double click it, Control V, and then we're going to call this, this is 1.5 meters. Oops. 1.5 meters. So, and then we'll come to the next one, which is going to be 2. If you're ever wondering which it is, just check on your dimensions again. So Control V, 2 meters, like so. And then Control V, and this one's 2.5 meter, like so. And then Control V, to 3 meter, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag these now. So I'm going to grab each one of these, shift select each one. I'm going to drag them into my modular parts, like so. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make another part in here, just so it's easier to see things. So I'm going to put right click, new, and then I'm going to put wooden blocks. And then I'm going to make sure that everything is nice and clean within here. Drop those in like so. And what that also means is because we've got all these parts now, I can close these up and I can turn off the parts that I want or don't want. So I can turn this off. I can turn my blocks off. Really easy then to use. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag these over here like so. And then I'm going to duplicate these. So Shift D. In fact, let's not duplicate them right yet. Let's just delete that out of the way. Let's first of all come in and add in some edge loops because it's going to save us a lot of time if we actually do that. Whatever's going to save us time, we want to be using right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into the first one. I'm going to press Control R, 2, left click, right click. And you can see what we've done there is we've actually put in 2 edge loops. Now, how did I do that? Let's go back just a sec. Let's press Control R and you'll see that you've got a line down there. And no matter where you move your mouse, you can't do anything. However, if you scroll the mouse wheel up or scroll it down, it will give you more edge loops or less edge loops. Now, if I scroll it up 2, so just 1 push up, left click, you can see now that I can move this up and down. However, if I press right click on the mouse, it'll drop it right in the center. Now, don't worry if you want more edge loops in, you can come down, bottom left hand side, and increase how many edge loops are actually in there. I'm going to be fine with 2 on this one. Let's come to this next one then. I'm going to press Tab, Control R, scroll it up 2. So we've got 3 edge loops in there, left click, right click. Why are we doing this? Well, you're going to find out that in a minute because what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to actually mess around with this mesh more and make it look a little bit more stylized than what it does right now. Now let's come to the next one. Same thing again, Control R. Let's bring in 5 this time. So left click, right click. Let's come to the next one, Tab, Control R. Let's bring in 6. Left click, right click, so you can see 6 on here. Let's come to the next one, Tab, Control R, and let's bring in left click, right click, 9. Let's bring in 9 from there. It's not going to make that much difference to what we're doing as well. All right, so the next thing then that we want to do is I want to basically UV unwrap these, and I'm going to show you how to do that on the next lesson. And the reason we want to do that is because if we're duplicating all these and we're doing things to them, we want to make sure that we're making it as easy as possible. So we want them UV unwrapped before doing anything else. All right, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed that, and you're going to learn so much, and it's such a brilliant way of doing things following this course that I hope you're looking forward to it. All right, everyone. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.